Hello people, I'm sorry I haven't done a video in a few weeks. I've been over in Japan having a great time. One hell of a country to visit. So yeah, I haven't done a video in a few weeks, but I'm back now. I hope you haven't lost interest in learning music theory. That would just be terrible really, wouldn't it? So what this video today is, I'm going to loosely call it now. I don't know what ever increasingly catchy thumbnail title I might come up with after this, but what I'm going to call it for now is learning just what you need to know. And, well, what do I mean by that? So everybody has a goal, even if they know it or it's subconscious, when they decide to start learning music theory. Like, you could be sitting at home listening to Elton John records or, someone newer like Ed Sheeran records or something like that. And you could be just thinking, I'd really like to know what goes through their brain when they create those songs. Or I would like to be able to work those songs out by ear. All these sorts of things. I would like to be the next Ed Sheeran. I would like to be able to write my own songs, all that kind of stuff. It's important to know what a student's goal is because there is a lot out there in music and a lot of stuff that's just not going to take you where you want to be at all. So specifically, I'm thinking with music theory, and there's been comments I've had on some of my videos so far where we go through the notes and scales and whatnot. People saying, what about minor seconds? What do I do with a diminished fifth, an augmented fourth, all these sorts of things. That stuff is very theoretical music theory. I mean, we're talking about things here where, like, you diminish the second so it becomes the same note as the first. And it's like, what? Okay, this is heavy music theory type stuff that if your goal is to be the next Ed Sheeran or able to work songs out by ear or just to be able to play really well and solo really nicely on your guitar, it's just not something you need to know. That stuff is out there. So it's kind of, I find it frustrating when people go to YouTube and they go, I'm going to learn music theory, and they're hit up with all this stuff about perfect fifths and augmented fourths and all this sort of thing. That is correct. It is music theory. It's out there. But what does the student actually want to know? What is their goal? Let me demonstrate something. I'm going to put a link here down below to an Australian, I think they're Australian, pretty sure they are or were, group called the Axis of Awesome. They went around the internet for a while years ago with this very funny video of them doing the 4-chord song. So stop now and watch it. Click on the link below. And we're going to come straight back afterwards. And just like that, we are magically back. I hope you did pause. For those who didn't, you would have seen me sitting here quite awkwardly staring at the camera for 2 seconds. So if you watched that, and I hope you did, you may have noticed something. You would have gone, which is the whole point of the joke. They're playing 4 chords over and over in the same key, and they sang 20, maybe, well-known songs over the top of it. Now, they've probably changed the key to make it all work, but the point is that one very, very simple chord progression out of the major key covered 20, 30 well-known songs, and that's just the ones they chose to do for the comedy skit. There's probably thousands more out there with that. So hopefully that was something where you thought, oh wow, that was really basic. A simple 4-chord progression, and each one of those songs, the melody would have been straight out of the major key. And hits, hits, hits. There were people in there like Maroon 5, everyone. There was just lots of hits in there. So my point is, you can see how simple your understanding of music theory can be to quite literally become an international music sensation. I'm pretty sure Kurt Cobain wouldn't have had a great idea of or interest in the difference between a minor second and a diminished second, or a diminished fifth and an augmented fourth, which should be the same note, but apparently in different contexts they're referred to differently. It's just not something that those people would have been into. And that's something that some people are into, for sure. But if your goal is to just know music theory, I mean, quite literally to even be the next big rock star, you don't need to know all of that stuff. So I'm not here to criticize that stuff. It has its place. It is what it is. It's delving into hard music theory. But I want to make sure that as you're searching for what you need to learn online, if you're looking to write songs, and not amazingly complex songs, you're not looking to write Bohemian Rhapsody, you're looking to write just some good songs that could maybe even be heard, on Spotify, selling quite a few, all the rest of it. Then use Axis of Awesome as your example. One simple chord progression, one simple scale, and they're just cranking out hit after hit after hit. Because it's not about the complexity of the theory or otherwise. It's about just coming up with that something that sits with people. So that's my point. If your goal is to be a good singer-songwriter and your goal is to, sit in that genre anyway, then probably stop looking at music theory that starts to talk about diminished fifth notes, minor second notes, augmented fourth notes, all this sort of thing. I mean, even diminished chords, they definitely have a place, but they're probably a little outside of what you're looking to do in general. Stick with the non-jargon stuff. If you've understood so far that how you get the notes in the key, how you get the chords in the key, all that sort of thing, all you need to know to write a massive hit. Because as Axis of Awesome have pointed out, it's been used that many times to create a massive hit. So that's what I'm sort of addressing now in this video, is just directing you on what you maybe should be looking up and what you maybe shouldn't. So if your goal, as I've said over and over, is to learn really intense music theory, to be this academic who just knows it all, then yeah, go for it. Go find those channels that are doing that are getting into the absolute depths of stuff that the Beatles wouldn't have even known, then go for it. But what we're learning to do on this channel is to basically break it down into the stuff you need to know to get where you want to be. And I don't want you to misdirect off into all sorts of stuff you just don't need to know. So let's think about this. If you are searching and you fit into the category of someone who just wants to, like I said, write good songs, play good solos, be able to figure out other songs by ear, all that sort of thing, then maybe stick away from stuff that is talking about perfect fifths and augmented fourths and this sort of terminology. The intervals you've learnt on my channel here are completely adequate. We're just referring to things as tone, tone, semitone, major, minor, minor. We are going to look at things like flattened sevenths and sharpened fifths and where they are and what they do and all that sort of thing. But keeping the terminology on words like flattened and sharpened and not going into augmented and all this type of thing. There's been some comments where some people were a bit confused about how major and minor fits together with minor seconds and augmented fourths and all this type of thing. Just that stuff is heavy, heavy theory that doesn't entirely have a place in what you would call mainstream or common music. It occurs naturally, but, most pop stars or rock stars probably don't know what a diminished second is and how it differs from a minor second, and why would they? They've just sat there with their four chords in a key, written a cool melody and just gone, woohoo, there it is. So that's my point today, is with that. I just mainly want you to watch the 4 Axis of Awesome to get the idea. I don't know what the progression is, thinking about it in that song. It's chords, it's probably like 1st, 5th, 6th, 4th or something. I'll look it up. But anyway, what you need to know at this stage for your music theory is the numbers, sharpening them, flattening them, the accidentals, which do create what's called modes. And that sort of thing combined with common chord progressions and whatnot. So this has just been a quick summary of that type of thing so that you don't get lost off in other videos that are getting into high academic music theory unless that's what you actually want to do. But if your goal, as I stated earlier, to play, to write, to sound great, then that's all stuff you do not need to know. That's intellectual stuff. Okay, it's just been a chat. Glad to have you guys back. I hope you stuck around since I came back from Japan. I'm going to follow this up very quickly with an actual practical video. I think the next one we're going to do is writing a song, which is really, really cool. Use the axis of awesome as an example to see exactly how easy it is to write a song. To write one that is insanely memorable and is a classic for years to come, slightly harder. You need to be inspired for that one. And also lyrics. Hey, we've all got to write lyrics. So yeah, I hope this has just been a good chat. Watch the axis, and next time we're going to write a song, your first song.